It's HPR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today, welcoming back a cat we've had as a guest for nearly 2 decades now. A Hawaii favorite. Veterans of over 50 years of performing in the islands. The band War.
All my friends, yellow riders. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Slipping into darkness. Don't you know that it's true? That for me and for you, the world is a ghetto.
Thursday and Friday, War are back November 21st and 22nd at the Blue Note. Then, Saturday, November 23rd at the MAC. It's a huge thrill to welcome back original member, founder, keyboardist, vocalist, and songwriter, Lonnie Jordan. Aloha, my brother.
Aloha, Dave. How are you?
Giving you a big hug and a high five. Gentle hug.
Thank you. I can always use it.
Yeah, man. Nah, I remember you well with the back and stuff. Wonderful to get to have you back on. It's been a few years since we were chatting there at the Blue Note, and of course you're coming back. When you think of playing here, is there some indelible memory that comes to your mind, my brother?
Always. First of all, you got to understand that just being in the word of Hawaii is like paradise in my mind, my heart, and the music that comes out to me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm me, Lonnie. It just resonates to me. Hawaii is a totally different vibe than any place I've ever played in, and I feel it every time I'm there. I don't know if it's a strong spiritual awareness or presence. Obviously, it's a presence. I remember when I first visited Hawaii, we were called Eric Burdon War.
Right.
That was the first time I had experienced a different place that had a strong aura about it.
Oh, I bet it can touch people. There's no question what you're talking about. Being in that kind of environment can certainly affect people. You know, one of those places, it's funny you say all that, because promoters did a couple of Diamond Head Crater festivals, like redoing what had been done in the 70s. They did them in the early 2000s, and you actually were on one in 2006. We got to do an interview there in the crater at this National Guard base live on the air.
Yeah.
Do you have crater memories of that unique place, the Diamond Head Crater?
Well, yes. I was afraid to go in there because I thought we were going to cause an eruption. I said, whoa. The second time we came back over and did it, I was told that the crater shifted. I remember that.
Wow, the actual land had shifted, you're saying, in there.
Yeah, exactly. And that blew my mind. I said, what? And I said, okay. And I think other people that was on there, Linda Ronstadt, I remember she was on it.
Yeah, that's the 2006 that I was talking about, exactly, with Steve Miller.
Oh.
Steve Miller and Linda Ronstadt.
Okay, yeah. And so it was the second time that I was told it had shifted. I remember it just got done raining. In some areas, there was places where there were mud.
It was historic. Yeah. You're mentioning the 40 days and nights of rain from early 2006. It was a historic period of rain.
Yeah. And I remember I did an interview, and one of my words that I said, which I also remember, is that war always brings sunshine. I said, don't worry, nothing will be canceled. We'll be there, and we'll bring the sunshine, and we did.
Right. There was a whole bunch of will this go on or not? There was a lot of question because the rain and all these little rivers of rain on the inside of the crater. And, you know, what's neat is, you also revisited music this year in a very special, recent, expanded re-release. The World is a Ghetto. One thing about War that is impressive is when you think of that particular song, The World is a Ghetto, that inspired many big names to cover it. Because I had just heard recently the Charles Kennard cover of that. But then I heard, there's George Benson and Ahmad Jamal, James Moody, Maynard Parker. Were you wow, what an impact our music is having?
I was totally into jazz back in the early days, and when I started hearing people covering our music, and I was totally honored that these jazz players, who I still can't, I'm still trying to emulate them. Here they are taking my music and making it like something totally outrageously great. I was always into the organ. I wanted to be like Jimmy Smith, Jimmy McGriff, Richard Groove Holmes, all that. I wanted to play jazz, organ. But I was a percussionist and a drummer first.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, too, because that's a percussion instrument, really, the piano and keyboards. And
Yeah, it's the mother.
well, one last question, and then I'll let you go. When you said the word mother, when I hear mother, I think Mother Earth. And when I hear Mother Earth and music, I'm always thinking of Jimi Hendrix, of course. And so
I had a feeling that was coming.
what can I do when you throw that word out, my brother? You just open the doors. And let me just set it up. There's this club in London, very famous, Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club. And War are playing there in 1970 in September, and Jimi Hendrix sat in with them. It would be his very last performance ever. Can you walk us through your very first memory of him just showing up and any cool stories from that night?
Oh, well, Jimmy came down on a Tuesday night. We were playing there, I think it was 2 weeks, 5 nights out of the week. So we played 2 weeks. Jimmy came down on one of the Tuesdays, because he and Eric were great friends. Remember, we were the Eric Burden and War band at that time.
Right.
Jimmy, of course, and Eric Burden, Chas Chandler from the Animals were all tight-knit friends. Jimmy came down Tuesday, and we had already met Jimi Hendrix way before that. So anyway, he came down Tuesday night at Ronnie Scott's without a guitar. And he sat down backstage, and I said, "Hey, man, where's your guitar? Let's groove like we did when we were at the bungalows in L.A., because that's where we had a jam session at one of the bungalows, you know. He was just playing on top of his guitar case, and I'm playing on the table,
Wow.
you know, in the living room, and we were just playing percussion and coming up with chants, because he's old school like we are.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, "Oh, man, that's sorry. I didn't know you wanted me to jam." And I said, "Yeah, what?" And then so he said, "I'll bring it tomorrow," which was Wednesday. So he brought his guitar. What we all did was we came to the conclusion to play Mother Earth by Mrs. Slim. We played it for at least 45 to an hour. That one song, everyone taking a solo. You know, he didn't bring any gimmicks. It was just a regular, straight out, home down home amplifier. And so we all just played the blues all night. Ironically, after we got done, he went back to his place. We all, you know, went to bed. But we get this call from his lady friend, Monica, saying that there was an issue going on and she was afraid and she needs help. She was calling our manager and producer, Jerry Goldstein and Steve Gold, because they were really good, close friends of Jimmy. And they were the only ones that she can call. She was afraid to call the police or the ambulance because there was drugs there, and she was still going to college at the time, and she just didn't want to get in trouble. You know, things like that. And, of course, no one's mad at her because she didn't know. She didn't know all she had to do was turn him over. He was suffocating, you know, off of his vomit.
Right.
You know, that's what happened. And then we got the call. And by the time the ambulance came there, I can't remember if they took him away and he died on the way or he died when they got there. I don't know. I can't even remember. It became a fog at that point, because we had to leave that next morning back to L.A. on the first 747. Well, that was our second time then, flying on the 747. And I'm like out to lunch in a fog. You know, and Jimmy had just passed away.
Right.
There's just a lot going on, man.
Wow.
It was all blowing my mind. So It was just all one thing after another. So that led me to have a drink for 8 hours or whatever it was. Those were the days, you know, like the song. Those were the days, my friend. I thought they'd never end. And, hey, I still remember some of it.
What a beautiful thing to sing a little bit for us, too, man. I don't think we can get it better than that. Founding member, keyboardist, and songwriter from War, Lonnie Jordan, and returning Thursday, November 21st, Friday the 22nd, Blue Note, Hawaii.
On my birthday.
76 young.
76, and I'm just a strong mind is still sparked.
He's also going to be at the MAC on Maui Saturday, November 23rd. And I hope you had fun today, Lonnie. It was a lot of fun for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dave.
And if we get a chance to say hi at the show, we'll appreciate it. But please travel safe and know that your time is very appreciated. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. If you get a chance, you will. You come backstage and say hello.
I look forward to it, Lonnie.
Remember, you're just as important because we're collaborating right now. We're making music, believe it or not. We're collaborating, we're expressing it, and giving it out to the people. They're listening to you as they've been listening to me.
You got a great vibe, man. You got such a great vibe. Stay safe.
Okay, you too.
Aloha.
All right,
Bye-bye, brother.
Bye.